Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng pressed the button lightly to exchange for the floating blood manual. Exchange successful. With the discount, you've spent 640 points, with 360 remaining. Please wait, someone will deliver the manual immediately. A few Mandarin words appeared on the screen. Unlike buying weapons, or live fruit etc., items which need to be transferred in reality, buying a manual, could be obtained immediately within the virtual universe. The manuals were after all simply knowledge being transferred, and the virtual universe had a 100% simulation. Hence, it was the most effective and safest way of transfer. In reality, one even had to prove one's identity. In the virtual universe, however, the entire virtual universe was under surveillance and had great security. These manuals were sold by the virtual universe system itself. Naturally, it was incredibly safe. There's a call request. Barbata shouted. Receive it. Luo Feng's thoughts moved and a screen appeared before him. On it was a beautiful jade. It was the manager of the Absolute Beginning Region Sector, Lord Lady Fox. Lady Fox smiled and said, Your Majesty Luo Feng, we've just received your manual container, we require you to come down and accept it. All right, I'm coming. Luo Feng smiled. It was indeed fast. Exchanging goods in reality, just the universe travel time alone would require a long time. Luo Feng flew out of his villa, becoming a beam of light on his dark cloud shuttle, and swiftly reaching the structure, in which the entrance was located, in the blink of an eye. Luo Feng could see beside the entrance, Sector Lord Lady Fox was looking up and awaiting his arrival. Luo Feng surveyed below. Your Majesty Luo Feng. Lady Fox smiled and welcomed him. Lady Fox, where's the item? Luo Feng looked around. Please wait a moment. Lady Fox looked at the construct beside. A waitress carrying a silver briefcase ran over and transferred it to Lady Fox. Your Majesty Luo Feng, these are the manuals our Absolute Beginning Region just received. It's what you purchased. Lady Fox passed it over. Thanks. Luo Feng received it with anticipation. After this first loss, in the future, when I acquire valuable and expensive items, I definitely won't use or lose them easily. Good steel should be used on the edge of a blade. The initial points they gave me was for my foundation. I wasted it on the illusionary techniques for the Mosha clan. Luo Feng shook his head. Luckily, he had passed the first level. For new people in the city, they awarded 10 times the points for those in their first 30 years in Primal Chaos City, hence he acquired 1,000 points. Otherwise, if he wasn't a new person, the first level would only give 100 points, second level 200, third level 400, it compounded on, showing just how difficult getting points was. Sitting in the study, he placed his laptop to the side and put the silver briefcase on the table. With a click, he opened it. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. The briefcase was filled with many black books within. Every one of them had the universe language words 9 universe and floating blood on them, also with the numbering, first, second, 3 road, 110 th. There's actually 110 books. Luo Feng was shocked. As the many training methods were all profound, hence using words alone would be extremely long. Just like when Luo Feng was studying the soul imprint before, just the preparation stages alone for the training took one entire book. From his own inherited memories, the many techniques for the golden horned beast, many of them if calculated in universe language words, would have trillions of words in them. Floating blood is a basic manual, that alone is 110 books. Luo Feng was excited, picking up the top one, the first book. On it the most obvious black words were the 9 universe 2 words. Beside it were the smaller words floating blood and finally bottom left, was the name Lian Luo. Opening the book, Luo Feng began to read. 9 Universe Tablet Introduction. Space Origin Law Comprehension. Floating Blood Training. In the limitless and vast star fields, out of so many, one universe country leader would be born. Wanting to become a universe country leader, one had to either be a time or space knight. That would mean completely studying and comprehending space or time at a peak level. That was extremely difficult. 9 Universe Tablet was one way to allow someone to become a space knight, which was one of the big paths to greatness. The 9 Universe Tablet was incredibly profound, and they directly reflected the 27 levels of the Heavenly Bridge. Just passing the 21st level would mean one could become a space knight, hence becoming a universe country leader. And the final level was still 27. If one completely comprehended the entire 9-universe tablet, that would mean standing right to the peak of humanity in the vast universe itself. 9-universe tablet, a total of 9 pictures. According to the first book's description, as long as one comprehended 7 pictures, he would be able to become a space knight and universe country leader. The first raindrop picture, second drizzle, third rainstorm, these 3 pictures were increasing levels of layers about studying the space laws. Just like how the computers on Earth used complex encoding, however in truth, if one truly understood the basics and essence, they were simply the construct of zeros and ones. The essence was very simple, just 2 digits forming sequences. Or just like Mandarin, Mandarin was very complex, however it was simple strokes that were placed together to form large words. The strokes were considered the base and essence. Or even English, no matter how complex it was, breaking it down all the way, it was made simply of letters, apt, forming different words and combinations. One theory. Even though the universe origin laws were incredibly complex, the core and essence of the most complex things are still simple. These the 1st of March pictures broke down the universe laws, separating them into 108 different wonders. If one said that Mandarin was made of strokes and English was made of letters, then the universe laws were made of these 108 wonders, constantly interweaving and combining, finally forming one huge law. The 1st of March pictures were dissected to the deepest regions. The 4th picture was a picture of stars, the 5th was a galaxy, and the 6th was Galaxy River. However, the universe law, compared to Mandarin or computer coding, was at least 1 trillion times more complex. Undying souls calculating speeds don't pale in comparison to even computers. However, many are still unable to break through to night level even after trillions of years. It's because it was too complex. After all, the universe origin laws contained simply too many things. By using a 2-digit structure alone, one could build a network world. These 108 wonders could explain 108 digits. Just how terrifying was the universe origin law? What's more, 108 wonders, every one of them was trillions of times bigger than the entire Mandarin, or English language, or even computer coding. Much less the entire law itself. Floating blood technique. This was a manual that dissected the universe space law's essence, demonstrating through the many blade forms. Floating Blood's first book was a summary. The 2nd to 109th book were training methods on the 108 wonders. The 110th book was a summary of the 108 forms. Dissecting the essence is incredibly difficult. The revolution of the universe laws, with its perfect form, as for its essence, it requires one to constantly dissect it. Even the 1st of March pictures of the 9-universe tablet only displayed the 108 wonders within those 108 drops of rain. These sort of complicated methods, I cannot function or dissect it. I can only use blade forms to fully explain these 108 wonders. Comprehension is incredibly difficult. And these 108 wonders, the 1st of September are the easiest, the middle 27 are hard, the 27 plus the first 9 forms the second picture of the drizzling, the final 72 are the hardest, these 72 plus the earlier 36 form the perfect rainstorm. The 1st of September, even though they are the easiest, unless one is an absolute genius with pinnacle comprehension and mental stability, it's extremely hard to train. Back then I studied in Primal Chaos City for 3,000 years, before I finally created the floating blood. If it were in the actual universe, it would take at least 10,000 years. I have these 2 pieces of advice to the warriors in the future. 1. If you are in Primal Chaos City, and you've trained for 20 years, without comprehending the first blade form, give up on floating blood. Go learn from other paths and slowly comprehend them, this path doesn't suit you. 2. If you are in the actual universe and you've trained for 200 years without comprehending the first blade form, similar to above, just give up. Primal Chaos City, the chaos energy revolved. On a particular balcony of this ancient city, Luo Feng stood, gazing into the distant city and the wasteland outside. Floating blood technique is explained through blade forms. However, the blade forms can be swiftly trained in. Luo Feng pondered, the first book had many explanations of the blade forms. Through incredibly complex blade forms, allowing one to experience and finally comprehend the first wonder that was the core of the first blade form. Blade and saber, these were both close combat weapons. The blade emphasized on piercing. The saber emphasized on slashing. However, the illusionary saber that Luo Feng used forms from the blood illusionary forms. The entire length of the saber was 108 centimeters, the edge was 80 centimeters, and the width was 5.3 centimeters. It had some changes from the saber the one he used on Earth. Just from the appearance one could see that this one focused on piercing. There were a few other two-handed huge blades that were even more similar to a wild saber compared to Luo Feng's. Having used the golden illusionary saber for long, changing to a blade now wasn't too difficult. In terms of close combat talent, especially when using a blade, of my three bodies, there's no doubt the Moshe clan is the strongest. Luo Feng thought. Then, let's begin. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, raising his head to look at the splits in the sky that had crystal threads and revolving origin laws. It was simply mesmerizing. Like the thousands and tens of thousands of warriors in Primal Chaos City, Luo Feng began to quietly study. The primal chaos spirits had beneficial effects on the soul. However, just like eating medicine, it lost its potency gradually as one consumed more. Luo Feng had hunted for over 8 months. Initially the spirits made his soul constantly evolve, however as it evolved more, the effects of the spirits diminished. Especially in the recent 2 months, the evolution itself became almost unnoticeable. Luo Feng sat on the balcony, looking up at the origin laws revolving about, experiencing it. Within his internal world, the Moshe clan body had taken the form of a black-clothed Luo Feng, wielding the dark red blade. This blade was something Barbata had created from using several machines and alloys within his storage space. With no special properties, it was a very simple alloy blade, completely fulfilling the conditions of the floating blood manual. Within the black-clothed Luo Feng, the 10,081 surfaced life crystal had incredibly complex golden engravings on them all. These glowing engravings gave off a resonance and ripple with the universe space itself. Over 1,000 images appeared. The blade form was magnificent. The Moshe clan was naturally apt at using close combat weapons, especially bad forms that were infused with the space origin laws. It was suited for such skills. Not right. It should be this way. Yes, very good. The black-clothed Luo Feng and Luo Feng himself shared the same soul. The two naturally viewed the space splits and the universe origin laws revolving together, experiencing it and unleashing the blade forms. Luo Feng's earth body himself would occasionally reflect against the 9-universe tablet and the manual within the virtual universe. Time flowed, days passed. Even though Luo Feng had passed the first level of the Heavenly Bridge and received yet another chance to study the tablet, he was in no rush to go immediately. According to the explanation within the floating blood manual, every chance to study had to be grasped and treasured. One couldn't waste time within. One first had to completely understand and comprehend everything from before, and continue pondering and studying. Only when they left with a large amount of questions and doubts again, should they go see the tablet once more. As one would ponder for a long time, with large amounts of questions, going to see the tablet would easily answer much of it, understanding more from before. China 2075 June 9th, Luo Feng acquired the floating blood manual, and began his training in Primal Chaos City. Year 2075 September, Jiu Sai Luo passed the first level on the bridge, and after a few days, Long Yun too passed the first level. Year 76 January, Luo Feng entered the city leader's residence and began to study the tablet again. He spent 7 days, constantly comprehending answers to his questions about the first blade form in his mind, and even feeling something special. The 9-universe tablet was completely for bringing one into the space origin law itself. Year 76 to 77, the Manchu Prince Wuke, Qian Shui of the genius siblings, many from the absolute beginning had all passed the first level. Even though it seemed like Wuke, Qian Shui and the others were slow. In truth, the time in the primal universe flowed slower. China had seen 3 years gone by, and yet in Primal Chaos City, only one had passed. In truth, Wuke, Qian Shui and the others weren't slower than Luo Feng by even a year. During the 2nd and 3rd year in Primal Chaos City, the heaven and ground region, the last phase region's geniuses began to all pass through the first level. This batch of 1,000 geniuses, with only a bit over 800 survivors, the last to pass the first level was during the end of the 4th year. Within Primal Chaos City, the other geniuses began to liven up, all heading out frequently and later realizing the effects diminishing. Everybody slowly began to stop heading out to hunt the beasts. Only occasionally heading out to use them as test subjects for their comprehension. Everyone spent their time sitting on the balconies. In the actual universe, China year 2082 August, Luo Feng's older son Luo Ping had married and had a child in the same year. After all, during the base era, many usually married at the age of 19, and this year, Luo Ping was already 22. Luo Feng was speechless. He had already become a grandfather. Year 86, Earth's bases began to expand, as it had already been over 20 years since the swallowing beast incident. Over these 20 years, with the Earth's upper echelon not controlling the masses and birth, many were encouraged to have more children. Since humanity at risk before, it was better to have more children. However now, after Earth began to interact more with the universe, discovering how vast it was with trillions of other races, Earth's humans were simply too little, naturally they wouldn't control them. And with technology advancing at an extreme rate, feeding and housing everybody became a much easier thing to do. Year 88, Earth's humans, they occupied more territory, the humans of Earth also got stronger and stronger. In truth, the reason behind why they never fully killed all the wild beasts, to the Earth humans, they were the perfect training ground for the fighters. Year 89, Luo Feng's smaller son Luo Hai began to enter the universe to explore. His older son Luo Ping was more steady, however Luo Hai worshipped his father and headed into the universe to explore. Luo Feng couldn't help it, he could only arrange for him to enter the Ganwu dojo. Year 92, Earth's humans, in the Pacific, Indian Ocean and many other oceans, a few large constructed cities on islands were built. This represented the humans of Earth finally entering the sea areas. Year 99, the expedition to Mars began. Of course the most stunning thing for Luo Feng was China year 2103, his own grandson, also Luo Ping's son from before his marriage, also got married. And when 30 years had passed on Earth, only 10 years had passed in Primal Chaos City. Earth had huge transformations. And in the distant ancient Primal Chaos City, Luo Feng had quietly sat there for 10 years. Primal Chaos City. As the sacred land of humanity had existed for trillions of years, there was hardly any change within these 10 years. Chaos energy still engulfed it, there were still countless warriors on their balconies. If there was a camera recording the images of for the last 10 years, one would realize that majority of the warriors hadn't moved at all. His coming. In the air above Primal Chaos City stood two powerful-looking silhouettes. One was an ape-man in golden armor, his eyes seemed like they could see through space itself. Beside him was another slightly skinnier man, with pale complexion, in white armor with two black horns. The space around him seemed to be warping, the most peculiar thing was he kept his eyes closed. Rumble, in the distance a dark blue arc universe ship appeared. Tru Yang, Tong Nan. A clear voice resounded. Dressed in a dark blue armor, with purple long hair, a beautiful lady flew out the cabin door as the ship behind her vanished. Jade. Tru Yang's voice was cheerful. That white-robed skinny man, who had his eyes closed also smiled and shouted, Jade, it's been a while. You two have been staying in Primal Chaos City and studying, rarely even entering the virtual universe. And I've been in the actual universe, how can we even meet? Jade smiled. Her entire being was almost like a jade statue, giving off a clear dreamy feeling, almost like she wasn't in the same space and time at all. Come to where I am staying. The white-robed skinny man smiled. In a moment. In a peculiar construct, where light and darkness were incomparably harmonious. Tru Yang Emperor, Tong Nan Emperor and Jade Emperor, these three were absolute beings with high amounts of power within the virtual universe, they sat around each other. Tastes good. Jade lifted a crystal wine glass and took a sip. This liquid, which had stars floating and revolving within, looked extremely beautiful. Ha ha, to be able to drink this 5-star galaxy, I've gotten some of the benefits from Jade. Tru Yang strongly swallowed the wine liquid in one gulp, and rubbed his chin gently after. His eyes staring wide, he complimented, Tong Nan, this blind man is very petty. He's been with me for over 100 million years, and only let me drink this once. It's very expensive. Tong Nan said softly, you just drank 30,000 mixed elements. As eternal beings that have been around for so long, even if they helped their families live for 1,000 eras, as time flowed like a river, their close ones had all still died. Hence, Tru Yang Emperor, Jade Emperor and Tong Nan Emperor didn't have any family left. To them, these friends that had been through thick and thin with them were their family. Tru Yang, Tong Nan, Jade, they all used to be a team, they were good friends in life and death situations. They experienced peril time and again. Their bonds were deep, especially between Tong Nan and Jade. These two had even a trace of romance. However, these two had never actually acted upon it. Even though they understood each other's thoughts, they still maintained their distance. They were used to this feeling too. After all, they were good friends and partners. Your arrival this time is for? Tong Nan Emperor asked. On Knight's orders. Jade smiled. 9-Blade Knight. Truyang asked shocked, what is the Knight making you do here? The Knight pays close attention to this new batch. They need to stay in Primal Chaos City for over 30 years, and 1/3 of the time has already passed. As such, there should already be some definite progress. Jade smiled, and the Knight himself will only come on the last day itself to receive this new batch. As for regular supervision, naturally he would send people under him. Hence I've come. Tong Nan the blind man nodded, right, this new batch was received by 9-Blade Knight. If a strong warrior emerges, he will be under 9-Blade Knight. Right? Jade smiled, even though this batch's chances of becoming undying are very low, there should still be a few. With their talent and our virtual universe company's heavy nurturing, the moment they become undying, they will definitely be more than ordinary. Naturally the Knight has to pay attention to his future underlings. For every genius battle and warrior battle, the virtual universe company would send a Knight to host it. This Luo Feng, Truyang rubbed his chin and then his head. He was frowning, how do I put it? When he first came, his performance was good. However, these 10 years have been peculiar. This punk spent some time hunting the beasts outside, after which he has been sitting on the balcony studying. He has not once attempted the bridge. Jade nodded, smiling, I've come this time specifically to observe them, the first target is Bolan. The Knight had also complimented Bolan. Each level of the heavenly bridge gets increasingly more difficult. The difficulty rises in a compounding ratio. I initially thought that he would take 20 years to pass the 4th level. Who would have thought he would do so in 10 instead? Jade exclaimed and smiled, the second is Rong Jun, he was number 2 in this batch. I estimate he will pass the 3rd level in these few years. Right? Tong Nan and Truyang nodded. 4 years after coming to Primal Chaos City and passing the 2nd level. Especially this year, he's already tried twice, he's not far from passing the 3rd level. Truyang laughed, and with the Yuan Chen Universe country leader as his personal teacher, how could his improvement be slow? Even though they were complimenting Rong Jun, within he was still unsatisfied. It was because Rong Jun and Bolan both weren't from the 9 Universe sect. My sex Luo Feng is studying the floating blood, was it a mistake? Dissecting the universe space law essence is incredibly difficult, has it stumped him? Truyang was worried within. Going down the wrong path was a waste of time, if he didn't pass that path, then Luo Feng would have wasted 10 years of time. Jade Emperor, under the 9-Blade Knight's orders had come to observe the new batch. With Jade Emperor's strength, observing them from far away was not a problem at all. This new batch wouldn't even detect or feel her. This Bolan is really not bad, indeed a number 1 genius from 10 million years. Jade floated above amidst the chaos energy. Looking at the distant Bolan training in the wastelands, Bolan's gaze was firm and strong, almost as though nothing could influence him. This Rong Jun is a natural-born warrior. However, just what about him has attracted the 2 country leaders? Jade stood in the air, surveying another distant balcony. That messy-haired bare-footed Rong Jun was practicing his forms, occasionally looking up to observe the universe laws revolving. On that balcony, Luo Feng sat cross-legged, no one knew that in his internal world. The Mosha clan was engaged in mad training over and over. For a total of 10 years, the Mosha clan had never even stopped training. He was immersed in the thrill of dissecting the universe origin law essence, and did not even feel the flow of time. Rumble. On the balcony, the energy around Luo Feng, who was sitting quietly crossed-legged, shook, dust dispersed and he opened his eyes. He stood up completely. As he gazed into the distance, Primal Chaos City was still exactly the same. Time left absolutely no trace on it at all. How long was I training this time? Luo Feng asked. This time was longer than those before, 3 years and 9 months. Barbata replied. Luo Feng gently waved his hand, leaving behind a palm print in space. He was smiling, if I cannot comprehend this in 20 years I have to give up. Luckily it was only 10 years. I've spent 10 years to finally completely comprehend the first blade form. At least I have the right to train this floating blood, I should go attempt the Heavenly Bridge. Virtual Universe, Heavenly Bridge. Dressed in full armor and boots, Luo Feng appeared at the center of the island, causing the watchman Bevan to get a shock as he looked over, smiling. It's been about 10 years. How come you haven't come at all? Your comrades all try a few times each year. I didn't want to get distracted from training. Luo Feng smiled and walked over. The watchman Bevan was surprised as he looked at the black-haired youth. He felt like Luo Feng wasn't the same as before. I want to attempt the 9-universe bridge. Can I go in now? Luo Feng asked. There's no one on the 9-universe bridge now. Watchman Bevan smiled. Thanks. Luo Feng's every step left behind a trail of images, while his actual being had already reached the 9-universe bridge itself. He feels different from before. Watchman Bevan muttered. 9-universe heavenly bridge. It was built over a vast ocean, reaching way past the horizons. Luo Feng had already passed the first level, hence he could fly directly towards the second level. At the end, there was a huge cloud mist. From the mist a voice resounded, choose your opponent. You can choose a fighter, spirit reader, controller or hypnotist. Pick anyone and win over your opponent and you'll have completed your second level. I choose. Luo Feng slowly descended from mid-air, firmly landing on the bridge, fighter. A black liquid flew out from the mist and it swiftly gathered and formed a mysterious person, who was wearing a mask in black armor. This mysterious man carried 2 blades. He was slightly taller and bigger than Luo Feng, and he emitted a powerful aura. As he stared coldly at Luo Feng used his right hand to brush past his forehead. The blade energy around his hand was extremely sharp. With a brush, he immediately cut his long hair off, returning to that 3-inch length hairstyle from before. Whatever he looks like in reality, the virtual universe too would automatically simulate. I'm really not used to long hair. Luo Feng smiled. The mysterious man carrying 2 blades stared coldly at Luo Feng. Take out your weapon. I'll satisfy you. Luo Feng smiled. 2 weapons immediately appeared in his hand. In his left was a 6-edged shield, the Absolute Void Shield, and in his right was a Blood Shadow Blade, the Golden Shadow Blade. Yes. Luo Feng was going to use his own blade techniques to pass the second level. After understanding the universe space origin law's first basic wonder, whether it's the Nanshan armament or blade techniques, it could be used with anything. This was just a path. Once one understands the path, he can swiftly meld it with different weapons and techniques. The black-clothed man let out a snort and with a swish, he immediately landed fiercely on the bridge. He rushed towards Luo Feng, almost like lightning as he brandished his 2 blades. The black-armored man flew up and 6 images appeared in mid-air. All of them wielding 2 blades. The most peculiar thing, they all seemed to be unleashing different techniques altogether, simultaneously attacking Luo Feng. Ha ha, Luo Feng actually laughed madly and rushed in, world's end. The blood shadow blade in his hand left behind a blurred image in mid-air. It slashed past the 6 images, and causing the 6 black-armored men to immediately fly backwards and crumble, leaving behind only one real body. Hatred. Luo Feng immediately appeared above the black-armored man. His right arm violently warped, causing the armor to expand. The muscles that appeared through the armor seemed to be steel-reinforced bars, seemingly extremely powerful. With a flash of madness, this blade immediately slashed down. The black-armored man could barely withstand it with his 2 blades. Rumble. The black-armored man was immediately knocked downwards. With a loud clash, he smashed into the bridge. He couldn't help but spit out fresh blood, and later landing within the mist-filled ocean. I don't believe. From the ocean he roared and floated back towards the sky. Luo Feng rushed back towards the bridge and smiled widely. I'll defeat your belief. Illusion. Nightmare. Hatred. Pensive. Bury. Heaven's end. Luo Feng was almost like a hard-to-follow fighter. That peculiar movement appeared time again, before the black-armored man, and each blade was hard to receive. Be it fierce and mad, or hard to predict, the most peculiar thing was, every blade form was extremely terrifying and mixed up. It made the black-armored man have no way to resist. Relying on these 6 moves will take a bit of time. Luo Feng stood on the ocean's surface, thinking. He was using the Mosha clan's illusionary 7 blades that his Mosha body had been studying. The illusionary 7 blades had 7 techniques in total. They were Nightmare, Illusion, Pensive, Bury, Dutchman's Pipe, Heaven's End and Hatred. Naturally, these names were simply Luo Feng's translation from universe language. However, in Mandarin the names were barely close to the original meanings. These 7 blades, none of them were weaker or stronger than the other. Some were fit to fight against numbers, while others were fit for assassination. Some were fit for close combat, while others were more strength-based. All these moves had their own usages. When training the illusionary 7 blades, different people would have different strengths. Luo Feng's favorite was Dutchman's pipe. It was like picking one of the flowers. In the past, Luo Feng was simply relying on 10 years of study and his comprehension of the laws to oppress his opponent. Luo Feng descended from mid-air and landed on the bridge. If you want to kill me, it won't be that easy. In mid-air, the black armored man wielding 2 blades was obviously in a sorry plight. He landed on the bridge too, his eyes fixed on the black-haired youth. The next move I am about to unleash is called the Dutchman's pipe. Luo Feng smiled at the black armored man. To be able to die by this move is your honor. The black armored man snorted. Su. Luo Feng immediately rushed towards the black armored man. He flipped the way he held the blood illusionary blade. An extremely swift and moving arc beam of light rushed forward. Ah! The black armored man stared wide-eyed. No. The 2 blades in his hands immediately became countless images, covering himself entirely. The beautiful arc beam of light slashed through. Blocked it. The black armored man relaxed for a moment and thought suspiciously, why was it so light? Luo Feng's blurry image followed that arc beam of light and suddenly lit up, appearing right before the black armored man. At this point, the distance between the 2 of them was less than 2 m. With a sudden blurry movement, the arc beam of light lit up again and slashed past the man immediately. It was so fast that he didn't even have time to react, having his throat cut. The slash cut right through and his head was split open as fresh blood spewed out. Too fast, the black armored man stared wide-eyed. Not even having the time to say anything, he died and his body returned to the black liquid within the white mist. Dutchman's pipe of the illusionary 7 blades. Primal Chaos City, Tong Nan Emperor looked below. True Yang Emperor, Tong Nan Emperor and Jade Emperor sat together. Leaving so early. True Yang was shocked. I've been in Primal Chaos City for close to 20 days. Whatever I need to observe, I've seen. Bolan and Rong Jun are the most exceptional, the others have their own specialties. Jade Emperor smiled, it's time to return and face the night. Tong Nan Emperor frowned. True Yang naturally frowned too, shocked. What's up? Tong Nan and Jade Emperor looked over shocked. It's that Luo Feng punk, he just passed the 2nd level. True Yang could barely contain his happiness, smiling, just. 2nd level. Jade nodded, he is after all one of the exceptional ones. He should have passed the 2nd level much earlier. Even though he's a little slower than the others now, but it's just a little. Wuke and Qian Shui only passed the 2nd level in their 9th year. No, he passed it using close combat. True Yang said. Close combat? Tong Nan and Jade were shocked. Everybody had their specialties. A controller was a controller, a fighter was a fighter. The strong usually focused on what they were proficient in, and Luo Feng was a controller. Just relying on close combat, he passed the 2nd level. His close combat ability is no weaker than Wuke or Long Yun then. Jade's eyes gleamed, let's go quickly to the heavenly bridge. Let's go. Tong Nan said too, at least Jade wasn't leavening immediately. Ha ha. I definitely saw something in him earlier, he's not average. True Yang laughed loudly, muttering within, this punk, his close combat is comparable to Long Yun or Wuke, truly demonic. The 3 absolute beings sent their consciousness immediately into the Virtual Universe Network Heavenly Bridge. Virtual Universe Network, Heavenly Bridge. 3 silhouettes appeared on the beautiful island. They were all absolute warriors of the Virtual Universe Company. Part 1 end here.